Welcome back, guys. Alex here with another game room tour video. This is the first one for 2019. I know it's been a long time coming. I know you guys have been waiting for this video. I have. You know, I really enjoy doing these videos because it is my hobby, it is my passion, and nothing else beats going around and just seeing someone else's collection and just seeing how they collect, because everyone collects differently, right? And then in this video today, I'm going to have to wear the cross. I'm going to have some holy water on me because this guy collects Sega. It is the almighty Sega zombie, Scott. Fantastic guy. He's got an awesome YouTube channel, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in this video below. He's an awesome guy, and I'm really looking forward to going and meet him today because he's got an amazing Mega Drive collection. Well, everything's Sega, basically. Everything that I said I would never collect. Even though I've got some nostalgia for, well, actually a lot of nostalgia for Sega in the arcades, especially on the Mega Drive as well. And I've just started my own little Mega Drive collection because for me, you know, that's what it's all about. That's where all the memories are. That's where all the nostalgia is. In the arcades, in the 16-bit era, you know, the pinnacle of all that pixel art is in the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive. So I'm hoping to see an amazing collection today. Well, I know I will, because I've seen pictures and I've seen his YouTube channel, so I'm really excited about this. So guys, I hope you can enjoy this video as much as me. So let's just get on the road, guys. Let's get straight to it because it is a really long one. Let's get on the road and go and see Sega Zombie. Right guys, this is the part of the video where you think I'm going to buy a big cream cake, shove it in my cake hole and make a complete mess of myself. Well, you're wrong. That ain't happening anymore. We need a new segment for this channel, the Game Room Tour. And it has to be game related, okay? So what I thought I would do is do a hints and tips. Well, not me, because I'm no good at games, but what I thought I would do is ask my good friend, Valerie Patisserie, the Games Master. She, or he, I'm not quite sure what sex it is, is an expert on video games. So I thought I'd put the question to her, because you know I've been struggling at trying to get a million points on Robotron. How do I get to that point in the game where I can just master through all the levels with no trouble at all? And this was her answer.
I am Valerie Patisserie, the Games Master. Welcome to the consultation zone. This week's question comes from Nintendo Arcade. How to get 1,000,000 points on Robotron. On the first wave, you have to destroy as many grunts as quickly as possible, but watch out for the spheroids as they will attack just as quick. Save as many humans as possible to gain as many points. Watch out for the brains as they transform the humans against you, and try and get as many humans grouped together for maximum points. But most of all, you have to win at Robotron. You have to be so quick with your twin stick shooting skills. But other than that, it's all about eating as much cake as possible. Eat as much cake as possible. And you will gain as much energy to take on all the robots, and that way you will become the master of Robotron. That's it. This week's Valerie Patisserie, The games master. Oh, thank you.
Right, here we are, guys, at Sega Zombie's place. I'm starting to get itchy about being some Sega house. Let's knock him up. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Right, mate?
You right, Scott?
How are you doing?
I don't know, I'm feeling a bit nervous about being in a Sega house.
I was going to say, are you ready for the other side, mate?
Yeah, I've got the cross ready and my holy water. Right,
Well, come in.
cheers, dude. Here we go. Top of the stairs. Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready. Those words alone is everything Sega to me.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, the game I remember in the arcade was awesome.
Yes.
Right, let's open the door. Oh wow, we've got mirrors.
Yes.
Oh mate, it's a lot bigger than I thought. Wow. Dude, this is awesome. Oh my god, the Sega wall.
Yeah, there's the wall.
Wow, just gonna have a quick look round, guys. Look at this setup, this is awesome. Look at all this. And you've got your setup over there. Oh mate, this is, oh look at the ghetto blaster.
Yeah.
Oh mate, this is awesome. Right, welcome guys. This is Scott, Sega Zombie. This is
Hello,
your
everyone.
YouTube channel, is that right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and we've had a little bit of console wars, haven't we?
We have. That's been good. I've enjoyed that 90s banter. It's
Have
been
you?
good. Yeah.
We need to get more of that. We'll
Yeah.
have plenty of that today in this video.
I'm sure there will be.
Mate, thanks for inviting us round here to have a look at your collection, which we're going to go into in a bit, guys. But before we do that, how did you get into gaming? You know, what was your first experiences?
Well, my first experiences living quite close to the coast
Yeah.
was often at the weekends, being real little, we went to the
Yeah.
arcades.
Right, okay.
So it was arcades
Yeah.
originally, and then
So late 80s would it be?
it would have been sort of early 80s.
Early 80s, okay.
Early 80s. And then it was my dad. My dad
Yeah.
was so into computers.
Oh, that's lucky.
And so I was lucky there, and I can remember coming home from school, and he had bought a Spectrum 48K.
Oh, right.
And, you know, to see that in the home, I was just
Yeah.
like amazed, you know. It was Space Invaders
Yeah.
and things like that in the
Yeah.
arcade, but to sit there
And have a Spectrum.
and have a Spectrum.
My
and
dad hated anything like that. He always
Really?
called it Jap crap. Because my dad was all into classic motorbikes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
everything British, but he hated all this stuff. So I never got that
I
from
think
my
that's
dad
why my
at
dad
all.
liked the Spectrum in the
Yeah,
Sinclair,
oh, okay.
is the whole
British made.
British made.
Yeah.
And I found it frustrating as I got older because he wouldn't invest in anything else. He stayed
Right.
with Spectrum
Oh,
right the
really?
way through. Yeah.
Has he still got his collection?
No.
No.
He used to be really. He used to buy. I think it was called Data Magazine or Input
Yeah.
Magazine. He
Yeah.
used to sit there for hours just coding,
Right.
and then they didn't work.
Wow.
And I can remember once we had a
Yeah.
power cut,
Yeah.
and he'd spent ages making this text adventure game,
And it just
and
went.
he lost a lot.
Oh, I
lost
remember those
everything.
days. Yeah, just get something wrong and it all.
Yeah,
And you'd go right the way back, all through the code just to find what you'd done wrong.
yeah.
Absolute nightmare. But then, what was your first arcade game you played on? Can you remember?
The very
Did it have
first.
an impact on you?
Yes, it was. It was in a cafe actually in Ipswich, and they had a few arcade games in there. And I can remember my uncle looking after me. He took me
Yeah.
in there, and they had Buck Rogers.
Wow.
Buck Rogers, and they had Space Harrier
Right.
in this cafe, and it was
Yeah.
predominantly a real alternative.
And was
cafe.
that the Space Harrier with the hydraulic chair?
No, no.
Just the
It was
stand-up
just the
version.
stand-up
Right,
version.
okay.
And yeah, I just because he was there with his mates, and he
Yeah.
just plonked me on
Wow.
on
Loved
these
it.
cabs, and I just sat there playing
Yeah.
them.
I think I played the hydraulic version of Space Harrier. It must have been Brighton or something like that. And the queues to get on it
Oh.
were incredible.
Yeah.
I think no one else has seen anything like it.
No.
You know, it was a fantastic game.
Oh, it's
Really,
just a
really
real
cool.
special era that is
Yeah.
for Sega, I think.
So your dad got a Spectrum, and then, you know, what was your first console that you got then?
The first console I got was a Atari 2600.
Right,
That was my
okay.
first sort
That
of
would have been
cartridge
quite
base.
old then, by
Yeah.
then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was. Someone gave it to us.
Right.
Someone gave it to us. That was my first console. My dad, again going back to him, he was like, "No, computers. These consoles are rubbish. They only play games." So
Yeah, it must sound more educational for
yeah,
you, right?
yeah. So that was how he sort of like
Yeah.
done it. So it was basically 2600. I used to play Hero.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely
Hero.
love that game.
Yeah, it's one of the best on it.
It is. It is just that and Pitfall. They're probably the best games
and
on
what's
it.
the tank one? Is it just tank?
Oh yeah, Combat.
Combat, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
2-player, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So it was all them sort of games really.
Yeah.
That was my first experience of a console, and it weren't until I got that little bit older, and I was doing a paper round, so I must have been 12, 13. That's when I started saving me money, and I went out and bought a Master System.
Right, okay.
Luckily, it was a friend of the family. They had one because
yeah.
they were so expensive.
Yeah.
It was just no
I
way.
don't remember anyone having a Master System back in the day.
Well,
it was all computers, Spectrum, BBC, Commodore
and then people
64.
went on to Atari ST and Amigas. And but this lad, he had the Master System.
Yeah.
But he wanted, I think it was an Atari ST. He was saving up for that, so I bought the Master System off him so he could get his Atari ST. And so it was the Master System was my first true.
Right. So a lot of the Master System games you've got now, are those ones from back in the day, or
No,
did you have to
unfortunately
restart your collection?
Yeah, the only thing that I've got original from back in the day is my Dreamcast.
Right. Okay.
It's
funny how we let things go,
It is.
But you know, nature of the time, you don't think, do you? That you're going to get nostalgic
Never
about
thought it was
something,
gonna
or you know, want it back, or even to a point where I think a lot of people get fed up with modern gaming and just want to go back to what games were supposed to be about, fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you find in all 16-bit, 8-bit
Definitely.
era, don't you?
Yeah.
Just pick up and play, get your fix, and you know.
I think that's why I just love the retro scene so much, is because it is that pick up and play. We've all got busy lives.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to spend 20 hours getting to play the latest Call of Duty or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you know, for me, it's a quick fix. In an hour, I can play 2 or 3 of these games and be more than happy.
Yeah.
But for me, it was predominantly money. You know, once the Mega Drive come out, I then traded in or sold on my Master System to then get the Mega Drive, and then the same for when the Saturn come out.
Yeah. So a lot of these games that you've accumulated over how long now? Would you say
I've
you've
been
been seriously
collecting? See, I went the other way. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was running my own business. I was doing a market stall, and I was selling games.
Oh, okay.
I worked for Electronics Boutique for a few years, and that was on the launch of the Dreamcast, which was fantastic. And then I just got ideas from them, really, because they were then going into the pre-owned sort of market, and I thought, hold on, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I eventually opened my own shop in the town centre with another mate. And we ran that business for 10 years.
Right.
So a lot of it was selling.
Yeah.
But I had my
where do you source it all from then? Car boots?
Car boots.
Yeah.
People,
which is dried up
people
now, right?
just used to walk in off the street. The amount
just
of
give
collection.
you a load of stuff.
Because everyone was in the same boat. They were like, well, I want a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Will you trade in all this Mega Drive
stuff,
or all
and
this
you just kept it
Nintendo?
all.
And I just... I used to take the cream off the top, take the games that I wanted.
Why not?
And then, sell on the others.
So what you'd say this collection now then is how old?
I would say, seriously, it's been nearly 10 years, I would
10
say.
years, yeah.
Because I went off the scene for a little while.
Yeah.
I still played it and collected it, but I real focused on going for Sega solely probably about 8, 9 years.
And is this a full Mega Drive collection?
Not quite yet.
How many you off?
I think there's about 150 to go.
150
for
to
the
go.
PAL.
For the PAL.
See, because I collect the Japanese and
well.
and the Genesis exclusives.
Right, of course, yeah.
So the only full PAL set I've got is the Dreamcast.
Right, okay. So the last 150, they're the big ones, are they?
It's not too bad. I've got some of the.
You got some of the big ones.
I've got some of the big ones out the way.
Yeah.
A lot of I've deliberately held off getting is the sort of more filler titles.
Yeah.
Because of space.
The games that are not that good.
Yeah.
Right?
And the ones that never go up in value, you can get them for £4 or £5.
Yeah.
Them ones I've deliberately tried to
stay
away from and just focus.
Would you get them boxed then as well eventually?
Yeah.
You will.
The plan is to have them all.
And how many is it in a complete PAL collection then?
It's about 540-ish. So there's quite a lot.
I think it's about 740 in the SNES.
Really?
American SNES, yeah. But I mean, say a lot of them fillers, games that are no good anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic, mate. Well, okay, guys. Well, let's get into the collection. What I'm going to do is take hold of the camera like I normally do and just go through some of these games. Let's get onto it, guys. Right, coming to your room, Scott, the first thing that draws me in is your Sega Mega Drive collection. It is unbelievable. It really is so cool. With them all up there on their spines, it looks amazing, mate. But tell me about, because I'm quite new to the Mega Drive scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it back in the day, my brother had one, but again, you know, back in the day, you only had a few games, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't afford disposable income like we've got now
Yeah.
to have a collection like this. What's the difference between the blue label and the black label?
Basically, the black label was the originals that come out, because obviously the Mega Drive launched in '89.
Yeah.
And because it was, Sega just wanted to refocus it, give it a more modern image.
Right.
So they then, I think it was like about 93 sort of time, 94.
Okay.
They went over to the blue.
So did they
spines.
reissue same games on a blue label?
No.
Or, no, so just all
predominantly
the
all
new
the
games.
new stuff
Right,
came
okay.
out on the blue.
Because I know, like, you had the Player Choice edition for the SNES,
Yeah.
right? But it just had a label on it. I just wondered if they'd done the same with some older games.
No,
Put
there's
them on
there's
a new
few.
label.
I think it's Streets of Rage 2
Yeah.
actually had the blue spine label on the cart.
Oh,
That's really rare. A lot of collectors are after that.
right.
But it came in the normal black sleeve.
Okay.
But it had the blue spine cart. So
Yeah.
Sega were obviously undecided at the time what they were going to do.
Yeah.
But I think the first game that launched on the blue spine was Sonic 3
Right,
because it
okay.
was such a massive game.
So, back in the day, what are the games that you had on the Mega Drive?
Well, first of all, I had the Altered Beast pack.
Yeah.
So that was a game I played an awful lot back when I got it. Another game, obviously, which was a big hit.
Golden Axe.
Golden
yeah.
Axe.
My brother, I remember watching my brother finish that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember I had it on the Spectrum,
Yeah.
and I think we had it on the Atari ST, and I just was blown away when I
Yeah.
see this. On
It
the
is a
Mega Drive.
fantastic game.
I remember thinking it was like arcade perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of the games I had from launch, and then there was a couple of games that.
Was that the game that made you buy the Mega Drive thing? Because I remember, like, when I saw Street Fighter pack for the Super Nintendo, I was like, I've
Yeah.
got to get this system.
It was
just for that game.
one of my
you know?
mates. His older brother imported a Mega Drive from Japan, and I can remember just going round his house, and we was playing our Master Systems and Spectrums, and he went, "Come and have a look at this."
Yeah.
And we went up and we went and played on his Mega Drive, and I was just like, "Wow,
Yeah.
what is this?"
Yeah.
And
Because now they've caught up with the arcades, right?
yeah,
And that was the big difference. And it really drew all the kids out of the arcade into their homes and started playing the arcade games in their house. And that,
Yeah.
for me, is why this 16-bit era is so special.
Yes.
It is the pinnacle of that 16-bit pixel art.
yeah,
And it never got any better in my mind.
yeah, yeah. No,
You know?
I agree 100% there.
Yeah.
And I think the first game I saw, which really I was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it,"
Yeah.
was Gynog.
Gynog, which I
on
saw
the-
down here,
which
wasn't
is
it?
here somewhere.
There it is. Gynog. This is what I'm actually after. So this is a vertical shooter, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and it's
An early game.
yeah, and it was right in sort of like 1990.
Yeah.
So you've got to remember the graphics for the time were amazing.
Yeah, I
and,
bet.
and the sound.
Yeah.
And I think it was just the whole. Up until then, all shooters that I'd experienced were all predominantly space shooters, spaceships, aliens.
Yeah.
Whereas this was sort of like
Fantasy.
fantasy.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're like this fallen angel.
Yeah.
And it had quite a sort of steampunk
You're right.
Gothic
Okay.
style
Which was
to
quite
it,
in at the time
which
as well.
was massive
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Have
huge.
you finished that one, Scott?
I have,
You have.
but I didn't finish it
On
until
cheats.
no. As a kid, I could only
Yeah.
get to the 4th level,
Right.
and it was I must have been in my late teens, early 20s when I finished it,
Right.
and that is playing this game on and off
Yeah.
for years.
You
It
still
gets
go
really
back
tough.
to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
one of those games that I play at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Right, okay. So I'm just going to whiz through myself and have a look. Right,
Yep.
so Streets of Rage is, everyone's got to have that in their collection,
Yeah, it's a
right?
must.
Is that a laser dragon? Is that a shooter?
Elisa
Elisa Dragon?
It is kind of a shoot. It's like a run and gun.
Run and gun, okay.
But it's a really weird sort of control mechanic. You
Yeah.
use magic. It's really clever game. I really
Now,
like that.
Castlevania, what's this? Tell me about this game, because I thought that was a SNES exclusive.
Wow. See? Well, obviously, Castlevania was the one game us Sega nuts really wanted.
Yeah.
And it was about 92, 93, I think it was, when it did
So this
come.
would have come out after 4, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this was after 4.
Yeah,
It was called Castlevania Bloodlines was its original name.
yeah.
The Japanese and the American NTSC version unfortunately got cut in this country,
Oh, did it?
which is really unusual. I don't know why Sega went down
You
that
cut
path.
in what way?
Just bits of blood and,
Right.
and things like that.
So the old thing about Super Nintendo cutting blood out, the Mega Drive did exactly
It
the same.
happened on the Mega Drive. Yeah, it did happen.
Right, okay.
And this was one of those games. Another
Yeah.
game was Splathouse 2.
Right,
So
all
there's
the blood
little
cut.
bits where they thought, well, that's a bit too much for the UK public.
So would you not go for a Japanese version of that?
I do want it.
You do want it?
It's-
Just for that reason?
Yeah, it's a pricey one, though,
Is it?
because obviously everyone's after it for that
Right,
reason.
how much is that worth, that one, Jim?
This is going for around a complete and good condition, over £100
Yeah,
now, this one.
yeah.
Easy.
And is it as good as 4, would you say?
It's very different.
Yeah.
And
Hasn't got the mode 7, of course, has it?
it's got some... Konami done brilliant in some of the effects that, for the first time, we'd never seen
Yeah.
that type of mode 70 sort of type effects
Okay.
on the Mega Drive. No one thought it was possible, but Konami with this title, and then
Yeah.
the guys that left Konami and formed Treasure
Yeah.
with Gunstar Heroes, they just...
It must have been a nightmare for those developers back in the day, making games for
they were
Mega
just-
Drive and Super Nintendo at exactly the same
It's
time.
mental, and you hear their stories now and how
Yeah.
they're treated.
Really?
You know, they were working 24/7,
Yeah, to get
7
these
days
games
a week
out.
to get these games out. Yeah.
Cool.
But
Well,
yeah,
let's
it's
put
very
that one
good.
back. Got Shinobi,
Great.
Ghosts and Ghouls. How does that play? Is that good?
It's very good. It's more true to the arcade than the Super Nintendo.
Oh really? In what way?
It's just
Come on, cough it up.
it plays the level layout and everything is pretty much spot on to the arcade port.
Yeah.
So, whereas the Super Nintendo one,
It's
they
been-
actually made it. They
For the Super
enhanced it a little
Nintendo.
bit more, didn't they?
Yeah.
And added a bit more
Yeah.
into it. It's still rock hard.
Yeah.
It's still just as hard as the
Yeah,
Super
I mean,
Nintendo.
games like R-Type 3, I mean, people complain about shooters on the Super Nintendo as being slow.
Yeah.
But when you get a developer who's making it specifically for the Super Nintendo, it's not a conversion or a port,
Yeah.
then they do a fantastic
They
job.
do. Yeah.
You've got R-Type 3 with no slowdown and beautiful graphics and
Yes.
sound,
Yeah.
and it works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no,
And I
definitely.
guess, you know, same with that.
Yeah, it works really well on the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people's favourite games. It
Yeah.
really is good on there.
And then next you've got Sunset Riders, which I've got on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
That would have been a good game to have a look, to compare.
Yeah.
Which is better.
It's graphically better on the Super Nintendo.
Is it?
I will admit that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still really
Still
solid
good. Is
on
it two-player?
Yeah, 2-player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
Another
plays
great
really
Konami
well.
game.
Another great one. This was just a fantastic era.
Yeah.
for them.
Is that expensive, that one?
Again, you're probably talking £100.
£100.
Close to, yeah.
Yeah. I think the SNES is $250 boxed.
Really?
Yeah.
See, this is what's good about. I know, I've noticed it in the last 18 months, 2 years. Sega prices
Have gone up.
are just going crazy,
Mm.
and unfortunately, you know, it's probably going to go the way of Nintendo. It's probably going to go.
Oh,
up
they've
and
gone
and
up through the roof
Yeah.
for ages. I mean, I've still got a few more big hitters to get out of the way, mate. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, the way I look at my collection now is pretty much retro. Now I'm not even interested in new games. Maybe the odd one like
Yeah.
Zelda, Metroid, but I have no interest in modern stuff.
I've gone exactly the same. I
Yeah.
used to be, as soon as a new console come out, I had to have it.
Yeah,
You know, to get the in-house games and
Yeah.
all that. But this generation has just gone. I've
Yeah.
lost it.
Yeah.
The magic's gone for me.
Double Clutch, is that a motorbike game?
No, it's a car game.
Car game. Golden Axe 2, Truxton. Now this game I've heard a lot about. I've been told to get this one. In my last video, everyone said got to get that. That's a shoot 'em up, right?
Yeah,
Why is that so good?
The developer, it's
Yeah.
done by Toplan. And it's,
So that is an arcade game, isn't it?
it is, yes.
And it's a good conversion.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good on the Mega Drive. It's a bit of a Marmite game. It's not everyone's cup
Yeah.
of tea as a shooter. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Has it got some sort of game mechanic then that some people don't like, or
I
is
don't
it
think it's a
unique in
bit of
its
the
own
art
way?
style, if anything.
Oh, right, okay.
The art style is quite dark. It's got like a bit of a sort of satanic overtures to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's to do with it.
Yeah.
It's rock hard. It starts you off.
It looks like quite organic, sort of an alien
It
feel
is,
to it.
yes. Yeah, and I think some people maybe don't like that so
Yeah.
much. And it
Yeah.
being a top-up shooter,
Yeah.
it's, I really like it, but it does get really challenging.
Does it?
It is a tough game.
Definitely one to get. And Ranger X is another game. Well, all three here I'm going to pick out because I've been told to get these. We've got Ranger X, Arrow Flash and Hellfire. Are they all shooters?
Yes, yeah, they are. Ranger X is really quite an interesting game.
Yeah.
You go from mech robot into a spaceship, and you need to know when to do that. You get onto this like a futuristic motorbike,
Right.
like a motorbike tank,
Okay.
battle tank. The controls are really fiddly,
Yeah.
but if you persevere with it,
I think I've seen YouTube clips of it. Yeah.
It-
Show us the
a lot
back.
of
Show us
people-
the screenshots.
a lot
Scott.
of people get sort of put off by the controls. But once
Yeah.
you do get used to them,
Yeah.
it's a great game.
Yeah.
Graphics are absolutely
Yeah.
really good.
Is that
on this.
another expensive one?
No, this one's
40, 50?
more, 40-50,
Yeah.
I'd say, that one.
Yeah.
Arrow Flash, bit of more of an old school traditional sort of style shooter.
Mhm.
Again, an early one on the Mega Drive. It's nice, it plays well.
Does
it's
it?
a solid game.
Solid shooter.
Hellfire mixes it up a bit with the weapon systems.
Yeah.
Again, looks nice. Again, it's a bit of a Marmite one, really.
Is
I
it?
hear a lot of people like it, a lot of people
People don't. Yeah.
But again, it's another toe-playing game, and
Yeah.
it was originally 1989.
I think that's another arcade conversion,
It is,
isn't it?
yes, yeah.
because I have heard of this one. So you did get a lot of shooters on the Mega Drive,
It
didn't
was
you?
predominantly shooters.
Burning Force.
Burning Force has got a really nice graphical effect with the parallax scrolling and all that.
Oh, I
but
do love
makes
parallax
you
scrolling.
a little sick.
I've got that, but I found that hard work because obviously in the arcade it's got what you call rotary sticks.
Rotary sticks. It
And
does
without
make it a
that, it
challenge.
makes it hard work.
It does.
Right? But I love the sound, the graphics. Thunder Force 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got 4. Which is the best one? 4. Is it?
yeah. Yeah, the earlier Thunder Force games, I'm not a fan. 3 onwards. were the
Afterburner.
ones.
Tailspin. Yeah. Did we get that on the SNES? I don't think we did.
I don't think that one was.
No, we got it on the NES, and it's good on the NES. Last Battle. I think I've owned this
That
before.
was one of the first games I had.
Was it?
Christmas I got my Mega
Is that
Drive.
like a Shinobi type game?
It's a cut down version of Fist of the North Star, the manga.
I love Fist and All Star. Predator 2. I think that's unique to Mega Drive. I don't think we got that
Yeah.
on the SNES.
I prefer the Master System version over the Mega Drive version, but
Right.
it's not a bad game.
Now here's Biohazard Battle. And that's a side-scrolling
Another shooter.
horizontal shooter,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, another shooter. Again, really organic
Yeah.
with the sort of like creatures in it.
What do they call it? Biomechanic
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
I don't know.
And it's it's a really
It's a
good
really
game.
good
And this one is a little bit more calmer. You can get through it a bit better. It's
Yeah.
not so challenging.
Yeah, because I don't like bullet hell
Oh
games.
no! See,
You-
that's where I love my shooters. I have to be
Yeah.
in the right frame of mood for a sort of like
Yeah.
a modern day one.
Yeah.
But predominantly it's the 16-bit era. Of
Yeah,
shooters for
definitely.
me, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think with the bullet, there's just too much going on, and you just tend to be looking at the bullets and not the enemies.
You're not seeing the
Yeah,
environments.
you're
not
not.
seeing the stages.
You're just looking at yourself.
Yeah.
You know. Gain ground. You see, that's an unusual one.
That
don't
is an
you?
unusual one. Yes, it's sort of like an early sort of strategy game.
Yeah.
It is a shooter, but you sort of like have to strategically plan your way through
Yeah.
the battlefield sort of thing. And you've got loads of different characters you can get that all got different abilities, like one's an
Yeah.
archer,
It
one's
looks a bit similar to a game on SNES called Firestarter, I think it's called.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Interesting.
But
Interesting box colour.
Sega Ages have just released this on the Switch.
Oh, right.
So, and I've been told it's the arcade port
Right,
over
I'm
the
definitely
Mega
going to
Drive.
check
So
that
I'm
out. You
gonna
just
check
got a
that out.
Switch, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do love
lovely.
the Switch. It's
Yeah,
great.
good that you've got a bit of Nintendo in here, mate. Dungeons and Dragons, I guess that's the... Is that like a first person... Yeah, dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terminator. Aladdin.
Great game.
Which everyone says is the better version than the Super Nintendo
Definitely.
version.
I would go with that.
In terms of graphics, colour, sound?
Yes, and I would say gameplay.
Gameplay.
I think they really nailed it
on
with
there.
that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the sort of game I'd play, to be honest with you, but it's a cutesy kind of platformy, isn't it?
The developers at the time, they obviously had a team doing the Super Nintendo one and a different team doing the Mega Drive.
That's another shooter, isn't it?
That's a classic as well.
That looks like 1943, isn't it?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah. Fire Shark.
Predominantly shooting tanks on the ground. It's really good.
I see a game here that me and my brother used to play. I used to love Speedball 2.
Absolutely
that was a fantastic game. Yeah. Any of the Terminators any good on the Mega Drive? Because they're a bit...
They're okay.
Yeah.
They're pretty average. Terminator, we'll see that later. I would say the best version of Terminator is on the Mega CD.
Yeah. Zombies, we had that on the SNES. Great little game.
Great game.
Probably plays the same, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Paperboy. Oh, what's that like? Is that similar to the arcade version?
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, because we got Paperboy. I think it was Paperboy 2 on the SNES. It's rubbish.
Yeah, it's not as good because you go on the other side of the road, don't you?
Yeah.
As well.
Space Harrier. Not the best version, is it?
No, it's not.
No. But it's better than Space Harrier 1, right? I mean, that is the same game, isn't it?
It's pretty much the same game.
Yeah.
In a way, it's sort of like a modern update for the Mega Drive. I wish they had just released Space Harrier, though, to be
Yeah. Moving on. Gunstar Heroes, mate. Pull that one out.
Oh, what a game.
So now, I asked a question in my last video. It's a hypothetical question, right? But I've got all these people giving me tech fucking lessons on that could never get ported to the SNES because the SNES wouldn't be able to do it. Is that a game that could be ported, do you reckon?
I think it would struggle a little.
Yeah.
It's... From what I'm not no expert, but from what I can gather, it's all to do with the processor speed of the Super Nintendo.
The clock speed.
Yeah, the clock speed of that. It would probably struggle with some of the...
There's a lot of sprites going on.
There's a lot of sprites.
Yeah.
And some of the weapons that you have, each one of those bullets is a sprite. And, it really pushes the Mega Drive to its absolute all.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, people say that, but then you play something like Space Megaforce or Super LS, known here. There's loads of sprite explosions in that game.
And they did pull it off on that one, haven't they?
Fantastic game.
But I think that's just one of us Sega guys will say, they can't get on the Super Nintendo. Because the Super Nintendo has a lot where we wish they could be on the Mega Drive. So.
Same with us though, isn't it? I mean, there's so many cool games. Rocket Knight Adventures,
that was on the Super Nintendo,
I think wasn't it? I'm trying to think now. What else we got? Alien Storm. That was
Alien
an arcade.
Storm. See, this game gets overlooked.
Yeah.
So fantastic in the arcade. It was a little bit more disappointing. It weren't kind of like Golden Axe and the other teams that this developer done. In the arcades, it weren't as true. The arcade port is fantastic.
Is it?
But it's solid, and I really enjoyed it.
That's a side-scrolling one, is it?
Yeah, side-scrolling beat 'em up.
What's the top-down one? It's similar. Alien...
Crackdown.
Is it Crackdown? I can't remember.
Or Alien Syndrome.
Alien
Syndrome, yeah.
Empire of Steel, I had that on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, great game that is. Steampunk.
Smash TV. Shining Darkness. See, I noticed there's not many RPGs on the Mega Drive, is there? Is that a good one?
That is very good. Turn-based.
Turn-based,
fantastic series.
Is it?
I know that it's got a massive fan base. Sega really need to start thinking about bringing these back on.
Yeah. You didn't get any Final Fantasies on the...
No, there was none of those.
Oh, you do have Paperboy 2. There it is. So I think that's the version we got on the SNES.
Yeah.
And not the original one. Strider, of course. This is the game that everyone wanted on the Super Nintendo. The only game I think the SNES has anything in comparison is Run Saber. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I don't know that.
It plays pretty much the same. It's not a bad game actually, but I don't think it's as good as Strider. It's a little bit short. Side Pocket, that's another fantastic
Yeah, that is a great little game,
we
that
get
is.
that on the SNES as well. That's a great little game. Double Dragon, Micro Machines. And then we're sort of getting on to the Japanese. Oh, what are these box ones here?
These ones are predominantly, there was a label Accolade Ballistics.
Yeah.
Some of these were only released in America, some of them in the UK. But they were all released in these like boxes, which is unusual for the
Right.
Mega Drive.
Cardboard boxes. Yeah.
And they play any region, so they were region free.
So the Turrican there. Pull that
Yes.
one out, because that is one of my favourite games.
Yeah, fantastic
Yeah.
game.
It is a fantastic game.
And it's ported really well on the Mega
Is it?
Drive. Yeah, I really like it. My favourite Turrican game is Mega Turrican.
Mega Turrican. Is that on the Mega Drive?
It's on the Mega Drive, Blue
So what's
Spine.
the difference? I wonder if that's... I'd like to know what the difference is between... Because we got Turrican and Super Turrican 2
Yeah,
on the SNES.
and they all originated from the Amiga
They did.
originally.
Yeah.
This is more true to the Amiga
It
port.
was Factor 5, wasn't
That's
it? who
right.
developed
Yeah.
them? Yeah.
And then Mega Turrican.
Yeah.
Where are
Mega Turrican. That's it there, yeah. Oh, you got that. What's the name?
you? Didn't think of that.
Right, okay.
And that was, from what I can gather, the
It's quite
Super
an expensive
Turrican
game,
came
yeah.
out on the Super Nintendo, and then this come out later on the
Right.
Mega Drive, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really is one of my favourite run and guns.
I could recognise that end of level boss there at the bottom as one on the first Turrican.
Yeah,
on the
I think
SNES.
they're like a mixture. It's really
Now it's funny, the guys at Factor 5, they all split up, went their separate ways, and they set up another company, and they made a game called Rendering Ranger that only came out in Japan.
oh yeah.
And the guy who had offices in Washington had an arcade, and his offices were next door to Nintendo of America, and he got on really well with Don James, who was the chief executive of
Yeah.
Nintendo America, and he found out about Sky Skipper. Well, he saw Sky Skipper in the lobby and asked if he could borrow it, and Nintendo said, well, you can only borrow Sky Skipper if you get, I think it was Star Wars Squadron out on the N64 at the time. If you get that game out on time,
Oh, fantastic.
then you
game.
can borrow Sky Skipper. So he did. He got the game out on time. They let him borrow Sky Skipper, and in that time he dumped the ROMs for Sky Skipper in Maine. So it was a guy who worked on Turrican
That's
who dumped the
amazing.
ROMs for
Yeah.
Sky Skipper into Maine.
That's brilliant.
It's cool, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that is really cool.
That's something I found out that actually I had to keep secret for quite a while,
Yeah.
but I could only let out fairly recently.
But I love the box art. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite
It
box
is
arts.
awesome,
That's
mate.
awesome.
Yeah. I love Turrican.
Yeah.
Turrican 2 for SNES goes for about 500 quid.
Really.
On-
See,
on
this is the
American.
thing. This is about 150, I'd say.
Yeah,
Now
it's
on
good,
the
isn't
Mega
it?
Drive.
So yeah, nothing else special in those boxes then, I noticed really. Havoc
No,
was
Universal Soldier is like a reskin of Turrican.
Havoc. Oh, is it?
Yeah, it plays very similar.
Havoc. Looks like a platformer.
That's a good, solid
Is it?
platformer.
And then what are these red labels down here? Oh, that's their Genesis exclusives.
These are all Genesis, and I'm focusing just on the exclusives. Stuff that
Yeah.
just didn't make it over here.
Any good ones there you can pull out?
Yeah, there's some not bad games. Viewpoint, Neo Geo game.
Point. Oh, that's a shooter, isn't it?
It's like isometric
yeah,
shooter.
yeah. Oh,
sort of.
right, cool.
What was that early Sega game? Zaxxon. Reminds
Zaxxon,
me
yeah,
of that.
yeah, and it's got that isometric feel
Yeah,
to it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Viewpoint's good.
Yeah, it's
It's funny that came to Mega Drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Neo Geo, because Neo Geo at the time would have had its own system out.
they did, but they
Exactly.
did. Quite a few games did make it onto the
Yeah.
Mega Drive.
Shadowrun.
Yeah,
Ha.
classic steampunk.
Yeah,
to
but
that.
it's completely different than the SNES version,
It is,
isn't it?
yes.
I loved, it's one of my favourite SNES games.
Really.
And I finished it back in the day. I'd love to play this version. I don't know if you listen to Maximum Power Up podcast, but Paul, who does that, loves this game. He's played both versions, and he thinks they're both good in their
Yeah,
own right.
everyone says that.
in
they're
their own
both
right.
really good.
Yeah.
Really solid.
Now down the bottom here, these are still all Genesis.
These are still all
exclusives.
Genesis, yeah. This is a fantastic run and gun. And now I remember this back on the Spectrum and the Amstrad. and that's Midnight Resistance.
Oh,
and it got a
you're
fantastic
joking. I remember it on
port
the
on the Mega
Spectrum.
Drive. Yeah.
That was Jim Bagley.
Yes. Yeah.
He made Midnight Resistance for Spectrum. He did a fantastic job
It's
of
just
that.
the music. As soon as I hear the soundtrack.
Again,
to that
this is
game,
another rotary stick game in the arcade.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so
Bit fiddly.
I would imagine it plays a little bit like Forgotten Worlds in that sense, then, is it?
Yes, yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
bit
You do.
fiddly.
Sometimes you'll die cheap because
Yeah.
of the controls
Yeah,
rather than your play.
yeah.
Talking of Forgotten Worlds, this game here is an absolutely fantastic game on the Mega Drive and often gets overlooked because of its price. But Troubleshooter done by the guys that done Forgotten Worlds.
Oh, right.
And obviously instead of it being the two guys, it's two
girls.
girls. And it's a
Wow.
fantastic game.
Is it?
But, you know, unless you emulate it, a lot of people
So
don't.
it is
play it.
basically Forgotten Worlds, but with two gorgeous
Yeah, it's
women on the
more.
front.
It's sort of like set on a planet this time. It's not in space
Yeah,
so much, but it's a great little game.
that's awesome. Road Blasters, there's an arcade game, I remember.
Yes, yeah, fantastic
But
game.
I'm sure, can't you get that on PAL?
That might be PAL, that one. It might be.
I'm thinking NES, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, mate. I was looking at
It
that on
possibly
the NES
might
the other
be.
day. And then we're going on to
And
Japanese
this
stuff
is all
here,
the
mate.
Japanese, and I love the Japanese stuff.
But just a nightmare to find the game,
It
right?
is, yeah, it's a nightmare to find what you're looking for.
So, are these just Japanese exclusives you've gone for then?
No, there is a few PAL ones in there, like you'll see Sonic 2 and things like
Yeah.
that. Predominantly, I picked those up when the prices were good.
Yeah.
You know, when you could buy
Yeah.
Sonic 2 for a couple of pounds, so I'd like that.
It's funny though, like some games like Road Rash is more expensive in Japan,
Yes.
right? Why is
Games
that? Is that-
that were predominantly Western, like EA
Yeah.
released games, you found that they weren't releasing huge numbers
So
in
they
Japan.
so Electronic Arts, did the game get another label, another
I
developer?
believe so,
Yeah.
and they were distributed a
Differently,
lot less.
yeah.
So if you're looking for those, like even Gunstar Heroes, things like that, you'll pay more than you will for the PAL
Right,
versions because
okay.
they're just harder to get.
Yeah. So any good ones to pull out here, mate? What's
Well-
Fat Man?
Fat Man is probably one of the worst games I've ever played.
Oh, is it?
And it sits proudly in the collection because it really is terrible.
Yeah.
Along with that one, Beast Warriors, absolutely
Rubbish.
god awful
Yeah.
rubbish. But yeah,
Yeah.
Fat Man,
Yeah, the cover's not great either,
No.
is it?
it's god awful.
The SNES has got loads of those sort of shit games.
These really shit fighters before Street
Yeah.
Fighter come along,
Yeah,
they were just
they're
rubbish.
just still playing with it, aren't they?
Yeah, but I have to have Outrun, even though it's
Outrun.
on PAL. I have to have Outrun.
Yeah. Is that a good conversion?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
not bad.
really solid.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, and a lot of me growing up was playing Outrun on the Mega Drive,
Yeah.
so it's the port
Yeah.
I'm most familiar
Oh,
with.
Sparkster, there's a good one.
Yeah,
Got that on the Super Nintendo. I haven't got that yet though. Wiz and Liz, I remember picking
That's
that up
a
at the car.
great game.
Is it a
Again-
good game? You know, I remember picking this up a couple of times at the car boot and never got round to playing
it's
it.
one of the only games because my
Looks like Lemmings, is it?
it's a bit like it's a bit of a puzzler,
Yeah.
really, and my kids they hate retro. They
Do they?
into it, but they love that game.
Do they?
My girls
It's
will
fun,
always
isn't it?
want to play that game.
Yeah.
That's what I love because I did have the Amiga. So many fantastic Amiga games come across to the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same on the Super Nintendo, but
Yeah.
a lot of games
Yeah, a
do come
few.
across.
Well, just have a look at the blue labels up here. We're nearly half hour in. Haven't gotten to any of the clues. But I love it. I love the Mega Drive. I love a 16-bit era. I'm just having a look. Look at all these blue labels, guys. So awesome. Let's have a look. Total Football. Dynamite Heady. Now that was an Amiga game, isn't it?
That's a treasure game.
A treasure game.
Yeah.
Okay, they made some fantastic
And
games.
it
didn't
is
they?
a fantastic game. Again,
Is it?
really pushes the Mega Drive to
Right.
its limits.
Yeah. Star Trek, Quackshot.
This game is a recent
Samurai
one.
Showdown. Now on the SNES, it got its own car, 32 meg car.
Yeah.
What did this Mega Drive get?
I think that was... It doesn't tell us on here. It was definitely a bigger cartridge.
Is it?
But I don't think it's as good.
No.
They didn't invest
It's
as
not
much
that
into
great
it.
on the SNES,
No.
to be honest with you. You'd have to play it on Neo Geo.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, you got Hang Time. That's a fantastic game.
Again, with basketball games, that was the 16-bit era. I liked them.
Yeah, well, I did.
And then I went off them.
Well, I think the best... Well, Hang Time's a brilliant arcade game of basketball, and I think the N64 got the best version of Hang
right,
Time.
yeah.
It is almost arcade perfect, you know, but I just don't like the N64.
No, I'm not a fan of the N64.
It's only because of that 3D. Just doesn't look great now, does it?
No.
Lost World, Rampage.
There's some of the most expensive games are on the blue spines.
Oh, really?
Which I've a
Which,
few of them
like,
I'm yet to get. I just picked this one up
Yeah.
recently.
Time
God,
Killers.
awful game.
Is it?
Awful, yeah. But you're looking 150 on that one.
Wow. Just because it's hard to get.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It was one of the last sort of releases, a late release on the
Right.
Mega Drive. So you
Arcade
find...
Classic. Don't remember it in the
Oh,
arcade.
no. And it's supposed to be a dismal.
Pitch Fever. I'm looking along here. You've got Batman and Robin, Sonic and Knuckles. Are you a big Sonic fan?
I was, yeah, I do
Yeah.
love it. That's another fantastic treasure game, and again, you're
Yeah.
looking 250 for that
Really?
one probably.
Side-scrolling run and gun.
Run
is
and
it?
gun again, yeah, absolutely
That's
amazing.
lovely, mate.
Absolutely.
Saturday Slam Masters. I love this
Great
game.
game.
I love that
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
On the Super Nintendo version, do
Yeah.
they have the entrances?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they might have, they're different or they're cut down on the
That's what I
original
like
version.
about Super Nintendo. They come in and they squirt water or whatever they've got in
Yeah.
their mouth out of them.
Yeah,
And there's all this kind of like theatre before they come into
Yeah.
the ring, which
Yeah,
I
it's-
love, you know. It's a little bit fiddly though. I mean, the AI on the SNES version is just rock hard.
Yeah,
Tanglewood. This is a new
that's
game,
the new
isn't it?
game, yeah.
So, are these still available to buy?
Yes, you can still
Can-
buy them. I think he's still taking pre-orders on them.
Right. Is it any good?
It's fantastic.
Is it?
It's a lovely game.
Yeah.
You can see his inspiration is from Another World, Flashback,
Right.
and Disney sort of
Yeah.
platformers. This reminds me a bit like Lion King.
Yeah.
And
Is there a homebrew scene for the Mega Drive?
yes, there's loads of games.
Is there?
Sort of
Have
in
you got into that?
development.
Well, obviously you're holding one, but
Yeah, it's one of those weird things because we've got that Paprium saga that's going on, whether that game's going to get released, which is supposed to be an absolutely amazing side-scroll beat-em up to
Right.
rival Streets of Rage.
right.
And sometimes I'm a bit hesitant to back
Yeah.
some of these Kickstarters and all that because you get burnt.
Yeah, I've
The
never
game's
backed
never.
any.
So, but Tanglewood, the guy, and I'm going to apologise now because I can't remember his name.
We had one last year or year before Holy Night. Oh, it was just awful.
Yeah.
Awful fighter.
Yeah, there's some that are really poor, but
Yeah.
we followed Matt. That's Matt.
Yeah.
Matt at Big Evil Corp. We gave him loads of shout outs. We really tried to support him on Galaxy Sega, the Facebook page that I run, and we followed him all the way through. And a great lad.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
It's
isn't it?
absolutely beautiful artwork.
Got there. Zero. Oh, I think that's on the
Another
SNES.
hard one to get hold of.
Comic Zone. Now that's a
Fantastic
favourite.
game.
Yeah. Yeah. It was unique, wasn't it?
So unique for the
Yeah.
time. Hard. The only thing that let that down is that game is ruthless.
Is it? And
Yeah,
moving up
really.
here, we've got Electronic Arts, which would have been PAL and Genesis only, would it have been?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
a few did make it out to Japan, but again, I think they were distributed differently.
Yeah. I remember Mutant League Football. Is that a good game still to play?
Yeah, that's
It's
all
all
right.
right, is it
It's
all
a
right?
little bit jumpy nowadays.
Road Rash 3,
Road Rash 3.
which I've never played. Is that the best version, would
No.
you say?
Road Rash 2
Road Rash 2.
is my personal
And then you
favourite.
had the 3DO version, didn't you?
Yeah,
Which is supposed to be quite good. Rings of Power, I remember my mate Russell playing that. Obviously Jungle Strike and
fantastic.
Desert Strike, Road Rash. I need to get Road Rash 1 and 2. So I'd love to have seen those on the SNES. They would have been great. Wow.
EA really supported Sega back in the
did,
day. Yeah, they really did.
And there you've got what do you call it?
The god awful Menacer.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
We
was
had
very
the
good.
scope, didn't we, on the SNES?
They went wireless with them. I think that was
Yeah.
their big downfall.
Yeah.
The technology weren't quite there for the time.
Wow. So just standing back here, guys. That's Scott's Sega wall. Isn't that incredible? And they look stained, mate. So nice. Right, we're going to have a little break and we're going to move on to the rest of the collection. Right, Scott, so moving on now to more update versions of Sega towards the end of its life, right? Dreamcast
Yeah, the Dreamcast, yeah.
was its last.
Their last hurrah in the hardware.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the collection here. So this is a complete PAL Dreamcast collection, is that right?
Yes, it is. Yep, I've just
Wow.
recently finished it.
And how many is that for a complete collection?
It's 116.
Oh, so not too bad then, is it?
126.
It's quite doable.
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable. There's a few challenges
Is there?
on it. I needed about Pete Armour always takes the mick out of me
Yeah,
because for about 8 years I've only needed about 20 games.
yeah.
I've just never got round
Never
to
got
doing
round to them. So I know nothing about a Dreamcast. I picked up a few in car boot sales years ago, but it never really interested me, to be honest with you. Pick out a few of your favourites there.
Yeah. Well, some of my favourite games, obviously the Shenmue series,
Yeah.
really iconic. Rumoured to be the most expensive game at the time in production.
Really?
And this is what led to Sega's trouble.
Oh, really?
Because that's why I love Sega so much, as they were chances.
And I don't think it was a big hit over here,
No.
was it? Even
No.
though everyone says it is one of the best games, but it didn't sell well, did it?
It didn't sell
It's a bit like
anywhere,
Metroid. It doesn't sell well, but it's a fantastic
loved.
game.
Yeah, and it's Shenmue is sort of like that on the Dreamcast, really. So many great games on the Dreamcast because it's where Sega first joined their arcade division
Yeah.
with the home console. So you was
Okay.
getting games like Crazy Taxi,
Right, so the two
and because it was the
developments- yeah.
Naomi technology was what was in the Dreamcast, it was easy for them to port them across.
Right.
So you was getting, the arcade games of the time at home.
Yeah,
Which in a way is what probably brought down the arcades and Sega
yeah.
to some degree, but like House of the Dead 2 on the Dreamcast is actually a better game
Is it?
than it is on the arcade.
Right, okay.
They added more detail to the textures of
Yeah.
the graphics and things like that, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know if the people or the viewers know, but Sega have been around a long time.
A
Not as
long
long as
time.
Nintendo,
No.
but they've definitely been in the arcade scene longer than Nintendo
Yes,
have.
yeah.
And they actually distributed a lot of Nintendo games
They did right
in
back
the 70s. I mean,
didn't
I
they?
had
Yeah.
a Nintendo Sheriff in a really rare trimline cabinet, which
Yeah.
was Sega made. And because Nintendo of America wasn't actually around at the time, they distributed a lot of the games to America,
Yes.
which was, quite a thing.
Yeah, so they worked well together.
Yeah, and they're still
you know.
making games now for the arcade,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. No,
Yeah.
there's still are the odd Sega game pop up here and there. They done
Yeah.
a new Daytona not that long ago.
Yeah.
They're not as good,
No.
in my opinion. They're
No.
not. But,
I don't think any of the arcade
no.
games are they, really?
No.
Any other games to pull out there?
Yeah, Sega Rally.
Sega Rally, yeah.
Once you get over the controls,
Yeah,
again, it plays quite well with the wheel. This actually.
yeah,
But yeah, that was a great launch game. We talked about House of the Dead 2, Sega Bass Fishing,
yeah.
which I've got
Was that with the reel? Did it
Yes,
have a
with
reel?
the reel.
Yeah.
So you've got the standalone one, but then you've got this, which is a really hard thing to get on the
Is it?
Dreamcast, and that's
Right. Wow.
that. So you've got the fishing rod in there as well.
And the reel.
But Sega just took a risk. They done things differently. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to do a fishing game in the
Yeah,
arcade. you know.
yeah.
And they took that risk. Sometimes it paid off. Sometimes it
Is
didn't.
there any feedback on the reel or anything like that, or was it just?
Yeah. It's
Is
got
it?
rumble feature,
Is it?
and it's just a great game to play with your
Yeah,
mates. It's
yeah.
such a laugh.
Yeah,
But again, you've got the 2D fighters. Some of the 2D graphics on the Dreamcast are amazing.
Virtual Fighter.
You've got the Virtual Fighter, and you've also got the Street Fighter games.
Yeah,
So you've got Alpha
Alpha,
3,
yeah.
Zero 3, which
Third
was
Strike,
Third Strike.
which is one of my favourite Street
Is that
Fighters.
one of your favourites?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
it's a
like
great
Third
game.
Strike.
And then you had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which was probably one of the best ports, I think, on a home console.
Yeah,
Some great sport games if you're into the
Yeah.
sport.
Wasn't really. I think that's
No.
probably why I never really got into it.
It was, you know, it was the likes of Crazy Taxi, the fighting games,
Yeah.
Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. No one had ever seen anything
Yeah, I
like
love
it.
this little Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, loads of
model.
people point that out.
It's cool, isn't it?
And then I've got the really hard to get Dreamcast watch.
Oh, wow.
I think there was
lovely,
only it was in the very low hundreds that these
Wow.
were released.
That's lovely, mate. Yeah, I guess, so when was the Dreamcast launched? What
Well,
year? Can you remember?
It was 1999.
Yeah.
So the Dreamcast, if you think about it, only had like about a 2-year life cycle. But
Yeah.
the games that come out in them 2
Yeah.
years,
So you reckon that Shenmue killed Sega as a company, the money?
it didn't help. I think the nail in the coffin was the PlayStation 2 had DVD.
Yeah.
Sega decided to go for their own format, which was GD-ROM or something
Right.
like that, and it got hacked.
Yeah.
And people could then just literally put a boot patch on a disc
Right.
and burn off any game they
Right.
wanted. So Sega could see that they were losing the battle with Sony. They knew it was going to be a fight, but then when it was cracked and everyone was hacking the games,
That was the end of it.
it was the end. I think
Yeah.
that's why they pulled
And
it.
now they're just a game developer, right?
Yes, and they're
Yeah.
struggling at that, really.
Are
They're getting back on the scene in the
Yeah.
last 18 months or so.
Yeah.
They seem to be pulling their act together.
Yeah.
And they're realising that they've got IP out there
Yeah.
that people want to see.
Yeah, especially the old stuff, right?
Instead of, it's always Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Sonic gets loads of flack over the last decade
Yeah.
or so because the games are poor.
Yeah.
And I think Sega have realised there's other IP out there.
Yeah. They've got a film out, haven't they? Sonic?
Oh,
Has
yeah,
that,
there's
has Sega got anything to do with that? Or do you think they're making
unfortunately,
any money
from
out
what
of that?
from what I've investigated, is Sega signed a contract with the film studio, and they have no artistic input.
Right.
So
It
obviously,
looks completely different.
yeah, and Sega aren't happy. But good old Sega, this is what they do. They take the
Yeah.
money and run sort of
Yeah.
like sometimes.
Well, that's cool. So they're moving over to an older system.
Yeah, an older one.
Their first console, really.
Yeah.
The Master System. You haven't gone for a complete collection on this. I know
No.
Tootie's got a complete collection.
Yeah.
I know Jay Cybersnake
Cyber Snake has.
has got
yes.
a complete collection. Again, I've got no nostalgia with this system. Any notable good games for this, mate?
Oh, some
Is
fantastic
that's
ones.
Bubble Bubble?
Yeah, and then you've got Masters of Darkness,
Yeah.
which is Sega's answer to Castlevania,
Right.
but a really unique and
Is
good
it?
game on its own right. So that's fantastic. And then, like what you just said, is Bubble Bubble,
Yeah.
great port
Yeah.
on the Master System, and Rainbow Islands,
Yeah.
one of my favourite ports. That is
Yeah.
fantastic game. Ninja Gaiden plays different to the NES version,
Yeah.
but again, a solid game. The 3D games, some of them work really well, considering
they?
this is 80s
Oh,
technology.
Zaxxon.
They really do look good.
Me and my girlfriend are thinking of getting a tortoise and we're going to name it Zaxxon.
Zaxxon.
She loves that name. It's so cool. It looks completely different than the arcade version.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it plays completely different.
Space Harrier, Alex Kidd.
Alex Kidd in Shinobi World, that's one of my favourites.
Psycho Fox, I've heard of that one. R-Type, how does that play?
Plays really well, yeah.
Does
It's
it?
a really solid port on the Master System.
You've got Streets of Rage on it as well.
Yeah, Streets of
so
Rage.
how did that work then? Surely I thought that was made for the Mega Drive.
It was, but because Sega realised that in the UK, especially, the Master System was still selling really well. So they sort of like marketed it
Yeah.
that they had the two running in tandem. You know,
Yeah.
people that couldn't afford the Mega Drive, or the Mega Drive was for the older kids.
Yeah.
And then the younger kids
Were still
would go out
playing
and
that.
buy a
Yeah.
Master System. So you find a lot of the Mega Drive games were
I did
ported
not know
across.
that.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, Operation Wolf. Ghosts and Ghouls.
Some
You've
great
got a lot- you've
Taito
got-
games as
yeah,
well, like
you've got
Space
Alien
Gun.
Storm.
Operation Wolf is really good on the
Yeah,
Master
Road
System.
Rash even. Huh.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable, mate. So you're way off a complete collection for that.
way off.
Yeah.
I've actually sold quite a few.
Yeah,
'cause
I noticed in your last video you said you weren't concentrating on it a
I
lot.
wasn't concentrating on it, and the Master System was one of the first consoles I started focusing on when I got back into collecting. And I found that a lot of them were really poor condition.
Yeah.
And I was just buying them up in bundles, keeping
Yeah.
them, putting them on a shelf. and I've just sort of thinned it out.
Right, so moving on to this corner here, mate. What we've got? This is the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, we've got the Sega Saturn here, and we've also got the Mega CD.
Yeah.
At the top here, it's predominantly Sega CD. Again, like what I'm doing with the Mega Drive, is I'm going for the exclusives. The Mega CD was not a hit in the UK.
Right.
It was the first sort of like, it was the first console or the first add-on that weren't a success in the UK. It had a stronger market in America, so you saw a lot more games release over there.
Right, okay, so these are all US games.
Yeah, so these blue ones here, they're all the US games. Unfortunately, Sega were a bit muddled with their packaging. You got some of these long box styles on the PAL as well.
Yeah.
But predominantly they're mostly...
They're quite hard to find in good condition, aren't they, the boxes?
You do struggle, especially if it's very hard to get a replacement.
Yeah. So how many is it, the Mega CD? Is that big to complete? Is there a lot of games to have a complete collection?
I believe it's 96.
96.
On 20 short.
Again, it's doable, isn't it?
It's doable, but there's some real pricey ones.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of Neo Geo ones. There's a Fatal Fury game.
I don't even know half of these games. Any ones that are really good?
Really good games. These ones are actual games that never got released.
Right.
So they're...
homebrews.
They're homebrews.
Right.
Games that were sort of pretty much finished but never released
And
out.
what sort of games are they?
They're all FMV. I love the FMV games, yeah. Yeah, people, you love them or hate them.
Yeah.
It's a genre of game that we're never going to get again.
Yeah. They're a bit like the Telltale games that are being released, aren't they? So it's all movie-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get a story and you click and you go that, almost like one of those
simple controls.
Yeah.
And it's for a moment, it was sort of like for that 12-month period, everyone thought that was the future, was to put video into games, but it didn't work.
Well, the most famous one was Night Trap.
Night Trap, that's a massive
Which
game.
I think they released on the Switch, didn't they?
They have, yeah, that's been released.
Used to see loads of these at the car boot.
Yeah.
But I just never thought the games were that good for me to sort of pick up, really.
One of the greatest games on the Mega CD is Final Fight.
Final Fight.
See, the Super Nintendo argument Final Fight is on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, you couldn't play two players, right?
You couldn't play two-player, but on the Mega CD version...
It's the best.
It's the best, and they actually... redone the music and everything, real orchestral music.
Right,
it's brilliant.
So arcade perfect then, you'd say.
It's really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the Saturn, Sega Saturn? How many games you got for that?
Sega Saturn, I'm over halfway for a PAL set, but my focus is going over to Japanese, really.
Is it? Why is that?
Because the library of games is better. They're 2D.
Yeah.
As we mentioned about
a lot of sports titles, I bet, on the PAL, isn't there?
Yeah. And also with the PAL, the Saturn come out at the time in the early 3D, how we mentioned about the N64.
Yeah.
That early 3D don't look good. It's very similar on some of these.
So to collect Japanese, you get a lot more of the 2D shooters, which look better.
Because in America and the UK, Sega Europe was trying to battle with PlayStation, with Sony to say, right, we can do 3D games.
Yeah.
Some amazing 2D games coming out in Japan. They just never made it here.
So I see that Guardian Heroes.
Yeah.
Pull that one out, mate. That's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sort of 2D, two-player run, right and fight, isn't it?
Yeah, side scroller, beat them up, but it's got loads of depth to it.
Yeah.
Loads of replayability. You keep going through it.
Dungeons and Dragons,
fantastic.
You got that one? That'd be a Jap one.
I've got that Japanese.
Yeah.
And then we've got what's interesting here is a guy on Galaxy Sega, Ben Boyd.
Yeah.
And a fantastic artist.
Oh God, yeah.
He actually
Silvergun.
He has made games that were exclusively in Japan. He's made them for PAL.
There's guys doing that for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, it just looks fantastic.
Yeah, there's a company called Fishy Face Games.
Oh, I have heard of that.
Yeah, and they do. I'll show you one a bit later. A Japanese exclusive for the Super Nintendo that's worth 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
And a guy's done all new box art and converted it to American car, and it looks great. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Plays the same.
Yeah, exactly. And when it's done like that, it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's done so well.
Yeah.
And he also done me this.
That's amazing.
So it's like a slip. So it goes with the Saga.
Yeah. It's lovely.
So he's done the slipcase for 1 and 2 basically to go in there. So
but are they translated as well, or do you still get the Japanese?
No, these are actually the original PAL ones.
Oh, are they?
And this game I've got the Japanese release of this as well, but obviously you can't play them. So
No.
and this.
But that would have been Japanese only, wouldn't it? Radiant Silver Gun?
Radiant Silver Gun.
Has that got a translation, or is no probably no
You
writing
don't
in
really
it anyway?
need it. There's a lot of English there. It was a treasure game.
Yeah.
One of the most disappointing games on the Saturn, and the one I was looking forward to the most, was Virtua Racing.
Oh, really?
But it was done by Warner Interactive. It wasn't actually done by Sega.
Right.
They let another company do it, and it's
So
poor.
the best version for that would be on the Mega Drive then, would it be?
The 32X.
The 32X,
Yeah, that's one of the only games. That and Space Harrier were amazing on the 32X.
Yeah, because I remember Soul Funk Retro, Matt.
Yeah.
That was one of his favourite games.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And I know you mentioned it in one of your videos, didn't you? That it was the game that you remember in the arcade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my first little when parents let us go out with a big group of lads, and it just predominantly sticks in that.
Paradius, you got Manx TT. Pandemonium, that came out. I remember that on the.
That was a PlayStation game.
Yeah, PlayStation
that made
game.
it to the.
That was really cool when it came out.
It was
really different, wasn't it?
It's probably not aged well now, but it was really.
You got Tomb Raider as well, didn't you?
Yes, Tomb Raider was actually.
Did that play all right?
Tomb Raider was originally made for the Sega Saturn.
Right.
So it plays.
And
really
these are all your Jap games down here.
These are all Dreamcast.
Oh,
Jap.
Dreamcast Jap.
Again, going for the exclusives.
It's an amazing collection, dude. Right, moving round to this side here, we've got a little Game Gear. God, I remember picking hundreds of these up at car boots and all.
They're still really cheap as well.
Yeah. And they've just gone for loose ones, right?
It's the only system that I've collected loose. I'm not really into handhelds that much.
No, I'm not.
So yeah, I'm happy to just get them loose.
Devilish. Is that a...
It's a bit like an Arkanoidy type.
Yeah, do you know what? I got to pick this up on a DS, you know.
Yeah.
So it's an old game. I didn't know that. Devilish. I wonder if it's an arcade game. Interesting. Nice. And then you've got Lethal Enforcers. You've got a Sega Saturn gun there. Virtual gun. Japanese Mega Drive. PAL. What's this here? Is that just a little TV?
That's a little TV. I had that when I was a kid. I used to play my Mega Drive.
Afterburner. Little toy game there.
The
grandstand.
Plays awful.
And what's this here, mate?
This is the Amstrad Mega PC.
Mega PC. This is one that's not working.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got issues with it.
So tell me a little bit about this then, mate. I know nothing about this
Well,
at all.
Amstrad, obviously, they were quite dominant. They bought out Sinclair back in the day, in the late 80s. And then they looked to go into the PC home market because they could see potential there, Alan Sugar. And they released this, which was a 386 PC, which has a sliding door on it. So when you click it there, it will run like a normal 386 PC. You slide this across, it turns it into a Mega Drive.
That's incredible.
So you just put your games in, and
Is that quite rare then?
they're very hard to get. Yeah,
Right.
to get them working. Obviously because it's old hardware, but
Got the old Discolor there on this.
it has. It needs. I bought this last year, and it's a project. Which I'm looking to finish
get
and
it sorted.
restore it.
Yeah. That's nice, mate. And then moving around here, you've got a flat screen with your Switch set up.
Yeah, I've got the Switch, and that was in my last video with the old Virtual
You're
Racing.
playing all the sort of retro games on that, are you?
Yeah. Predominantly I play mostly retro on it.
A few Switch games there. Sega Mega Drive collection. Sonic Forces. Was that a good game? The Sonic game?
It was okay.
Was it?
I think what people forget is that was a budget release. It was only like 25 quid when it come out.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
Yeah.
Average.
Yeah. And then up here you've got Xbox games. Oh, I mean, I loved the Xbox when it came out, the original one. Fable, of course, was a favourite of mine. Midway Arcade.
I love all these compilations.
I do. Yeah, there's some.
Really
I mean, there's some good games on there.
Play them on MAME or whatever. I mean,
on here, what have you got? You've got Zybots, which is just a classic game. Spy Hunter 2, Rock Hard, Wizard of War. Well, I've got a little story to tell you about that game, Wizard of War, but not for this video, for another video eventually. Panzer Dragon, Shenmue, of course, that's when I first played it. Gun, played that. That was a great game. Crimson Skies. Wasn't that fantastic?
That was a fantastic
Two-player.
game.
That was a great game. I finished that. Indiana Jones.
the first indie game that I
Yeah.
really enjoyed, apart from the point
Yeah,
and click.
and I finished that as well. Loved that game. Yeah, some fantastic games on there. You've got a few GameCube games
This
there.
is a new collection. I've only just started
Is it?
on the GameCube.
Oh, mate, I've got a few you can have of mine. I should have brought them along. And then up here you've got an Atari Jaguar collection.
Yep. I was one of the only people that got a Atari Jaguar on launch.
I'm picking this one out here, Raiden, because it was my game of the month last week on my channel.
Plays. It's a lovely conversion.
Is
of
it?
the
It's
Atari
probably
Jaguar.
a lot better than the SNES version. It's a great game, great arcade game. Lovely boxes as well.
Yeah, I do like the box art for this Atari Jaguar.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it hasn't got many great games on it.
that's a great game, Alien vs Predator.
Yes. Yeah.
Checker Flag.
It's like a poor man's Virtual Racing.
Is it? Wolfenstein's a good one.
Yeah, Wolfenstein's great. Tempest 2000.
Oh yes,
Absolute
that's Jeff
classic,
Minter's game.
Jeff Minter.
I met Jeff Minter a few times. Really nice guy.
But that's a fantastic game.
Yeah. So I bet these are expensive to pick up now, aren't
They
they?
are now.
Yeah.
Again, Atari sort of like... Atari was weird. It was always cheap,
Yeah.
Atari stuff. But
gone
again,
for the
last
roof.
12 months are starting to really
Yeah.
creep up.
Got a few little collectibles up there.
Yeah, books and collectibles up there.
More boxed consoles here. Atari Flashback, Jaguar, Saturn. I see that the other day.
That's really cool.
It's
that is.
well
I really
made,
was
isn't it?
impressed with
Yeah.
that.
Fighting sticks down there, arcade sticks. Little DS collection there.
Yeah, that's my smallest collection.
Oh mate, that's. I'm glad you got that because Outrun on that is awesome.
It's really good, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, awesome. Then moving around here, we've got your gaming setup
Yes.
where you play all your games. So you've got B&O.
Yes. Recently, I did have the bigger B&O, but I've got rid of that,
That's
and I
the
want to
best
go
version,
for a
isn't it?
smaller one.
Yeah. And then you've got the Sega Mega CD set up there. Saturn. What was that one there?
The PC Engine
Oh,
Duo
PC
R.
Engine Duo. GameCube. Dreamcast. Amiga. It's a nice little setup, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a few Vectrex games
Yeah,
here
my
too.
Vectrex down there.
Yeah. Very nice. And I love this. The Ghetto Blaster. Tell me about this. This is not an old one, is it?
No, this is a modern
new
one. It come out a couple of years ago.
Isn't that a beaut, guys? Look at
And
that.
I've always been into my Ghetto Blasters, but
Yeah.
it's servicing them and
Yeah.
getting them looked after, and this was bought for
That's
me as a
awesome.
present. It's
You can Bluetooth that, right?
You can Bluetooth. It's got all the modern technology as well as the tape
Yeah.
deck and everything.
It's fantastic, mate. Right, so let's have another little break. Just going to do a little gameplay. Scott's going to show us Musha. Is it Musha? Is that how you pronounce it?
Musha is the American name, Robo Elise.
Robo Elise. So was this quite an early release, Scott?
It was, yeah. It's
Yeah.
in sort of like the early years of the Mega Drive. You need to shoot those droids to release your power-ups.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic to think that this is running on a Mega Drive. Spikes.
This is an expensive one.
Yes.
To pick up.
Yes, you're talking over £100 for this one.
Okay. It's smooth, isn't it?
It's very smooth. I was going for the power up there.
Easy game then? Is that what people like about it? Is it,
Yeah, it
is it
starts
completable?
off. It is, yeah. It does get harder, and it's got a really awesome power up.
Yeah.
You know, you just get such powerful weapons.
Right, that's nice and rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the level bosses?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
And not too hard.
yeah,
You can easily learn the patterns to them.
Yeah.
Like all of these games, it's just learning.
learning, yeah.
You can change the rotation of your guns as well.
That's cool.
I just love the graphical style, that sort of metallic effect,
Yeah,
which you saw that a lot on a lot of the earlier Mega
Yeah.
Drive games.
And this got a Japanese release only, didn't it?
It did get a North American release as well.
Okay.
Again, it's just unbelievable that it never made it over here.
I guess the people just wanted sports games, right?
I think they're under the impression that shooters weren't so popular here.
Yeah.
Whoa, nearly bit of that.
Sound effects are great.
A lot of people say Truxton is one of their favourite
Really?
shooters, but this is definitely mine.
I didn't see Zero Wing in the collection. You got that one?
What's that, sorry?
Zero Wing. Have you got that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a long level, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. It's longer than I remember.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think we're coming towards the boss now. I just like how he's a robot, how his legs move.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the speed of it is just, you can
And
just
there's
tell.
your
can't
secondary weapon as well. Just picked up there. It's just like a laser that just obliterates anything.
you? Do you prefer playing these games on the pad, or do you have your arcade stick out?
See, I grew up with the pad, to be
Yeah.
honest, and it's only been... There's arcade games that I played in the arcade that I like to play on an arcade
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah, I mean, I think with any stick, it's always a bit of a palaver setting it up, isn't
Yes.
it? Unless you've got it set up all the time.
Yeah,
And you've got to have that depth on the table as well to have it, haven't you?
it is, yes.
Yeah.
It's sitting comfortably with it.
Yeah.
This is very similar to Raiden.
Yeah. Just went for that end level boss, man.
There he is. Ah! It steps up, and I like the progression of this game
Yeah.
as well. Ah!
That's nice there. You got big power ups and big bombs. This is the end level boss.
No, you don't get that in this.
Oh, this is the thing at the beginning,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. You take out its first turrets and then you come back to it. Because I died right before, and I'm going to struggle here.
Yeah, it's because it ripped you of all your power ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these early games did that, unfortunately. Raiden's the same. You've got to go in there fully
You have.
powered up
You've
with
got to
some
be
bombs. That's awesome.
Fully
mate.
powered up.
Thanks for showing us that. It's awesome. I forgot to mention the PC Engine collection, mate. How many games have you got here?
There's quite a few here. We've got my PC Engine, which I started at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
So you collecting the Hue cards or the discs,
Both.
mate? Both.
Both,
Okay.
yeah.
What's cheaper to collect, or does it matter?
I'm finding that some of the CDs are quite cheap. Some
Yeah.
of the Who cards. It depends what game you're after.
You're right.
really.
Okay.
Some of them are like really desirable. Like Who card the
Operation
Operation Wolf. That's an affordable game. It
Is
weren't
it?
too much money.
Yeah.
Great port, and then we've got Bloody Wolf. Now that one's a bit more money.
Is it?
It's kind of like a sort of like a commando style game,
Yeah.
but with side scrolling sort of beat 'em up as well.
Sounds good.
And Space
Space
Harrier.
Harrier.
So I'm going for the Sega stuff
Right,
on there
okay,
as
of
well.
course, yeah, I think I've got one game for my PC Engine collection. I've just started.
Yeah.
and it's Gallagher 88.
Oh,
the games I'm
that's
looking
one
for
I do want. Yeah.
is the arcade conversions.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've been looking out for Outrun, definitely.
Outrun's really good
I
on
bet
it.
it
I
is,
was
yeah.
really impressed with that. The colours are so
Yeah.
bright. And then you got Winds of Thunder.
Yeah.
An absolutely amazing shooter. That
Is it?
really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Raiden,
Raiden.
which
Bet that plays well,
is
doesn't
really,
it? I think
really
Craig's
nice.
here again was saying that was the
Yeah.
best version.
Yeah. And then Castlevania.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And then moving along, we've got some Japanese Mega CD.
Yeah.
Barry Arm, absolutely glorious. Why this game never got released over here, I do not
Really?
know. It's
What
absolutely.
sort of game is it then?
It plays very similar to Thunder Force 4.
Right.
It's that sort of style shooter. Great game.
So a lot more games were released for the Japanese Mega CD
Yes.
then?
Yeah.
And all kind of those shooter type
Yeah,
games.
a lot of 2D stuff
Yeah.
with manga put into
It's
it.
funny, isn't it?
And then this is all the Japanese Sega Saturn.
Yeah. I think, if we'd see more of those type of games over here, I probably would have got one. But because I saw just so many football games
Yeah.
and sports games, I lost interest in
Yeah,
it.
I
Do you
think
know
that's
I
what
mean?
it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's your Japanese Sega Saturn collection. Awesome, dude. You need to get Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I have.
You've got it? Oh, yeah. That's the only Saturn game I ever owned.
Yeah,
And that's
It's a
awesome.
great game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, the price of this. I wanted to get the box version with the
I think
cartridge.
if I get it now, I'll probably get the actual PC
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
For my Jammer Cab.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah. Oh, a couple of little Spectrum games up here, mate.
Yeah,
Two
I've
of
kept
my
them
favourite.
out of my collection that I
Oh.
sold. That was the first game I ever played
I
on the
love
Spectrum.
that game. That is a fantastic game.
That just mesmerised me. That game,
Yeah.
seeing that when I got
This
home.
was a bit harder to go back to, but I loved it at the time. I loved the artwork.
First
the
game I ever
attack.
finished.
Is it?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so I've kept those.
There's your Vectrex there. Well, cool. That's awesome, man. Well, you got the Sony PlayStation Mini.
Yeah,
Has it been hacked
unfortunately.
yet?
I haven't hacked it yet.
No. It's doable,
But
though,
it's
right?
doable,
Right,
yeah.
okay. Right, guys, you've had the game room tour. That's it, all done. No, we're not going yet. We've got a few more things to discuss. Console Wars. Which is the best system? I can tell you right now, it's a Super Nintendo.
No, it is. It's the Sega Mega Drive.
No, it is, mate. Well, you tell me, what game, what adventure game, what RPG would you say would compete with something like this? Zelda. Mega Drive didn't have a game like this.
The
Nothing
Mega
compared
Drive.
to
The
this.
Mega Drive. It wasn't its strong point. RPGs.
No, it wasn't.
It had some fantastic ones.
Not many.
Not many. But I've
What
got
did it
one
have?
here. And
Never
that's
heard of it.
Solely and
Solely?
absolutely
Solely? Come on, Nintendo guys. Which is better, Zelda or Solely? Tell me
Come
about
on.
Solely. Come on, what's so good about it?
A great RPG, very
Yeah.
similar to Zelda.
Yeah.
Better in my
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
I'm not an RPG man, but this is a fantastic little game.
It's not a turn-based game.
It's not turn-based.
Top-down, real
Top
time.
down, real time.
Okay.
You get
So
your
like
team.
Zelda then in many ways.
Very similar.
Copying Zelda.
But where it's maybe where it's got an advantage over Zelda is you get different abilities, you get different animals that join your little party
Nice.
because you can speak to the animals. You see,
Oh, you want to do that, right?
and no one else can speak
Yeah.
to you.
Okay,
So
but where's its legacy? There isn't one, is there?
There isn't.
It died a death.
it did, but it was a classic on the Mega
Which
Drive.
is better, guys? You in the comments below. Which is better? Come on, system beater, Zelda. Right, next, run and gun games. Which system had the better run and gun game? Well, hands down, Contra 3. Alien Wars. Look at that game. Absolutely awesome, with some really cool Mode 7, great end of level bosses, fantastic game, 2-player game. There was nothing like this on the Sega Mega Drive to beat this. This wins hands down.
I think Alex might be wrong here again because we've got Contra on the Mega Drive. Now, this is a fantastic port on the Mega Drive, exclusive to the Mega Drive, and it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And it does everything that one does. It's got some great, fantastic, huge enemies. What people thought couldn't happen on the Mega Drive, zoomed in 2D sprites.
Yeah.
It done it all, mate.
All right,
It done
okay.
it all.
Good sound effects.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the sound effects.
Damn it, it didn't have the sound chip that the Super Nintendo had. Okay, well, what do you reckon, guys? Which is the system beater, Contra or Protector? Right, now this is where you think you might win hands down. Everyone says that the Super Nintendo doesn't do shoot 'em ups. It slows down. Hasn't got that clock speed that the Mega Drive has. Well, I'm sorry, you're all wrong. Space Mega Force does. And there's loads of I've never seen so many pixel explosions in my life. This just runs so fast. It's a beautiful game. It's got a fantastic sound in this game, and I just love it to death. And the box art is absolutely beautiful. And the Mega Drive just can't compete with that. I'm sorry.
Again, Alex, I beg to differ there, mate. Perhaps you've never played this, and that is Robo Elise, released in Japan. And it is also released in America, known as Musha. An absolutely fantastic shooter. I would go as far as to say that is the best 16-bit shooter ever made.
What do you think, guys? I've never played that, so I've never even heard. I've heard of Super Aleste. It's not the same, right? I mean, that is
Now,
Super Aleste.
This is the proper.
Right,
Aleste.
okay. The proper Aleste. Okay, guys, what's the system beater? Super Aleste or Space Mega Force or...
It's got to be this, and look at that box art.
Yeah, look at this box art. Right, okay. So you had 3 games there. You had a RPG, you had a run and gun, we had a vertical shooter. I'm going to pick 2 games that I think are just system beaters hands down. And it's one of my favourite games of all time. That is Pocky and Rocky 2. Look at the box art of that, guys. This is a beautiful multi-directional shooter with cutie graphics, but don't be fooled by the cutie graphics, because this is an awesome, awesome game. It's got a little bit of RPG elements in there. You can go into the shop and buy things. We like to do that. It's just a fantastic game. It really, really is. And I don't think there's anything like this on the Mega Drive. So again, the Super Nintendo wins, hands down.
I've never played that game. Never played them games. No, I'm interested to see what they're like. But again, where I think the Super Nintendo is weak and the Mega Drive comes through is run and gun. Blast processing at its best. Alien Soldier, massive sprites, absolutely flawless gameplay. It's hard, but it's a rewarding game.
Yeah.
It really pushes the Mega Drive.
Wow.
And the sprites, awesome.
I've never played that like you've never played this.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you played both these games, what do you reckon? Hands down is a system beater. Pocky and Rocky 2 or Alien Soldier. Right, we'll have to play these later
We
ourselves.
will, definitely.
And the last one in the collection, and this was a game I was telling you that didn't get a PAL release. It only came out in Japan. And it's a fantastic game. It goes for silly money in Japan. It is Rendering Ranger R2. I know Cybersnake's got a copy of this. It goes for crazy, crazy money. But I'm happy with Fishy Face's conversion onto an American car. It is a fantastic game, and you think it's one of the best run and gun games I've played, like Contra. It's got all that run and gun games, a little bit like Turrican as well. You've got kind of directional pathways going this way and that, and then suddenly out of the blue you get in the spaceship and you take off and it turns into a side-scrolling shooter, and it is absolutely stunning. No slow down or anything. It is a beautiful game, and it's got that rendering graphics that you just didn't see on the Mega Drive. Just didn't do it.
I was going to choose this as my last game, but I've got one that's going to beat it. We're going to put Mega Turrican down.
Oh yeah.
Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2, yeah.
Name me a side-scrolling beater on the Super
Yeah.
Nintendo that rivals the perfection of
Final
Streets of
Fight?
Rage.
No, it didn't do it, did it?
Streets of Rage 2. I've had to do it, Alex.
Okay. That is a good one. I love the soundtrack to that game. It is
Fantastic
a fantastic
music,
game.
fantastic gameplay.
So what do you reckon, guys? Rendering Ranger R2 or Streets of Rage 2? Which is the system beater? I think at the end of the day, as I've started collecting Mega Drive, they're both fantastic consoles. And I've got a lot of nostalgia for both of them.
Yeah.
And for me, the Sega Mega Drive especially brings back all those arcade memories.
Yes.
It's just the sound. I
It
love
is
it.
the sound.
Not so much the Dreamcast.
No.
The Saturn's cool. I don't have any interest in the Master System, but I absolutely adore the Mega Drive collection.
Yeah.
And you've got a fantastic collection, mate. You really have. You should be really proud of that.
I am. I love it to
Yeah.
pieces. It's my favourite
Yeah.
system by far.
So where do you see yourself going forward with your collection?
Well, I'm going for a full
Yeah.
PAL set on
Yeah.
the Mega Drive. I've got about 150 to go. It's challenging because I collect the Japanese and the Genesis as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really like to get a full UK
Yeah.
PAL set for the Mega Drive, as it being my favourite system.
Yeah.
And then progressing further, I want to. I'm looking to do a garage conversion
Right.
and convert into a bigger games room, so
Yeah.
I can go where I have to go for Sega, and that's
Yeah.
arcades.
Arcades.
Yeah,
So if you was to choose an arcade game in your collection, a Sega, what would it be?
it'd be Outrun.
The Outrun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult to find.
No.
I mean, they're going up in price, but
Yeah.
there's, if you want one, you'll get one.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Would you have this full sit-down one, or quite happy with
Oh,
stand-up?
I dream of that. But
Yeah.
The stand-up one
Yeah.
I'd be happy with, because obviously
Yeah.
then I'd have room for more.
Yeah.
So
Space Harrier?
Space Harrier, that'd have to be in there. Wouldn't it?
That would be really
Yeah.
cool. Well, before we go, I've got a couple of gifts for you.
Oh, I've got one for you actually.
Yeah. Let's go and get these. It's not much, but got to add a little bit more Nintendo into this game room. I bought you some Nintendo playing cards out of my collection. Something that Nintendo were known for in the beginning
Yeah,
of
in
their
their
life.
early days,
I mean,
wasn't it?
Nintendo's a really old company, and you know they still make these little playing cards today. And I think it's just a nice little token of Nintendo here. Just got all the different playing cards. Look inside, and it's not even been opened. Look, so that's really nice. You can have that. I think Nintendo and Sega actually have a lot of history together. People forget that Sega and Nintendo, even today, now they work together. Right, they had their differences
Yeah.
in the 90s, but in the 70s they worked together.
Yeah. And I think the people that benefited the most out
Yeah.
of the 90s and the 16-bit wars was us, the
Yeah,
gamers.
exactly.
Because
The
that
competition.
pushed both of them to their
Yeah.
limits.
And I've
And
also
that's
got
great.
you some 30th anniversary Super Mario pin badges,
Oh, wow.
which
Look
I
at
love. I do love my pin badges, but I've got a double copy of these, so they're yours, mate,
Oh,
for your collection.
fantastic. I will put them somewhere in the Sega wall. And for you, Alex, I've got you
Yes.
Road Rash, mate,
Excellent, mate. I'm definitely
to
gonna be
add to that
playing
Mega
this.
Drive
One of
collection.
my favourite Sega Mega Drive games, Road Rash. I love that. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, mate.
It's been absolutely awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
thanks for the room tour. It's been great. You're the first one for 2019. It's great
Excellent.
to come here, mate, honestly. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Leave all your comments below. Let us know which is the best console. I think they're both great, really, at the end of the day. But there you go. A lot of bit of banter. Big round of applause for Scott. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cool. Collection, mate. Honestly, absolutely love it. What you
I
got
think
here?
we got a naughty but nice moment, didn't we?
What we got here, Scott? Look at these. Well, which one shall I have? I'll have this one. Look at this one, guys. Look. Look at the cream on that.
Oh.
That's great, man. Wow. Another naughty but nice section. Cheers, Scott. Thanks, guys. Excellent, mate. Well, guys, what did you think? Did you enjoy that as much as I did? Because I'll tell you what, I was in my absolute element in that room. It was absolutely amazing. You know, I could have gone through every single game. I wanted to go through every single game. Just I had so many questions to ask, because really my knowledge is quite limited on the Sega Mega Drive. So I was really interested in every single one of those games. We just didn't have enough time. You know, half an hour in, we were still on the first shelf of the Mega Drive. It was absolutely awesome. Fantastic setup. Awesome games. Definitely going to be looking out for Alien Soldier. Man, that game looks awesome. Bit pricey. You know, there's still a lot of Super Nintendo games I want, but that Mega Drive game I'd definitely be looking out for. and seeing them all there on his Sega wall, you know, when you see it on the YouTube channel, it looks a lot smaller, but when you're in the actual room and you can see all those games, it just blows you away. It's absolutely awesome. It's all accessible. You can get to all of his games and just plug in and play. He's a proper gamer as well as a collector, which I really do admire. And just an all-round top bloke. And now, guys, if you haven't checked his YouTube channel out, you must go over and visit Scott at Sega Zombie. I'll put the link to his YouTube channel in this video below. Awesome guy. And also, you know, if you want to trade some games, go over to Retro Realm on Facebook. It's a great way to sell or buy games. He's the founder of that Facebook page. Brilliant, brilliant. So it's the only Facebook page I use now to sell my games or even pick stuff up. So yeah, great day. Really, really enjoyed it. Scott, thanks for letting me do that. And guys, I hope you know, give him the good thumbs up, because it was really worth doing. And you know, it takes a lot of organising, a lot of time up, and a bit of my money as well, petrol as well. That's why I put the adverts in, guys. Literally just pays for the petrol. Probably only make about 30 quid a year. But if it goes a little bit towards the petrol, then it's all good. I'll carry on doing the game room tours, because I absolutely love it. And I hope you did as well. So yeah, go and see Sega Zombie YouTube channel and give this one a thumbs up. And that's basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.